Hey guys, CDTVThaG here, and the G, of course, you know what the G stands for? Thing has had a good run, but I think it's time to end it because I'm simply just running out of words that start with the G. It's time to put it to bed. It had a good run while it lasted, but we just gotta leave it in the past now and remember it for what it was. With that being said, the G stands for GLUCONEOGENESIS. Do you think I'd run out of G words? I am the G. I'm not gonna run out of G's. That's who I am. Did you fall for that little April Fool's prank at the start? So yeah, today I'm gonna be reacting to the new album from Jaden. He just goes by Jaden now, just one name, and I think it works. I actually think that's a smart choice, taking the Smith part out of his name and just going by Jaden, so people won't necessarily judge him as Jaden Smith. They probably still will, but I think it's a smart choice for his name. Gonna be reacting to his new album, ERYS, which is SYRE backwards. On the cover, it's even got the colors flipped around. Seeing as this is my first reaction to Jaden, I'll give some of my thoughts on his music. I think he has a lot of potential to make really good and really interesting music. A lot of his stuff is sonically beautiful. There were so many tracks on SYRE that just sounded amazing, not just because of the production, but Jaden worked with the beats pretty well too. His flows were on point, he can flow really well. I did like that there was a lot of attempts for creativity. He definitely liked to try a lot of things on that album, and not all of it worked, but he was trying, he was experimenting with a lot of different things. However, where it gets a bit more mixed, there's a few things. For example, on his more recent projects like the Sunset tapes and ERYS is Coming, his influences are so clear. He doesn't even try to sound like himself on these projects, which is a shame, because I really thought maybe he could flesh out a unique sound for himself after SYRE dropped. But then on his next few projects, he just sounded like Travis Scott very clearly on a lot of them. Another issue is sometimes his lyrics can be very Jaden Smith-like. They sound alright at first, but then you pause for a second and go back to them, and they either just don't really make that much sense, or are about conspiracy theories. And also I think he has issues with pacing. Sunset Tapes is way longer than it needs to be. Even SYRE, which is an album that I think is fairly enjoyable, like I said, it sounds beautiful. That's an album that I think had severe pacing issues. There was some 6-minute tracks, 7-minute tracks laced throughout it, and I just don't think Jaden does those type of tracks that well. This one is pretty much the same length, I think. It's definitely the same amount of tracks, 17 tracks. So hopefully this one doesn't have the same pacing issues, but I guess we'll find out. That's my thoughts on Jaden's music. I really want him to come through on this album and come through with something impressive. Of course, these first 4 tracks I'm super hyped for. This is a sequence of 4 tracks, P, I, N, and K, which of course spells pink. This is just like the first 4 tracks on SYRE, which spell out blue. That sequence was incredible. I'm hoping that pink is going to be the same. I'm really excited to see how this flows into each other. And I think for the first time in one of my reactions, I'm not going to pause between these songs to give my thoughts on each individual one. I'm going to listen to these first 4 tracks just all the way through, because I really want to hear how these ones flow together. Let's jump right into it. P, I, N, and K. Let's do it. Really excited for this, man. Okay. Is that Jaden on the like background vocals with this high-pitched voice? Sounds pretty nice. Okay, I'm getting into it now. I'm getting into it. Okay. There's a transition. We're on to I now. Alright, first of all, transition right there was beautiful. I love that transition, but he sounded a lot better on SYRE like when he wasn't using auto-tune, or he was using it minimally. So I hope he's not lathered in auto-tune throughout this, because I don't think it's that great of a sound for him. But instrumentally everything's been solid so far. I wonder if they'll understand the metaphors. Too deep for us, Jaden. Don't even expect it. Beat is hard, Jaden's flow is pretty cool, but he sounds so much better without auto-tune, legit. Okay. Okay, so just from that bar right there at the start, SYRE died in the sunset, don't be like him. ERYS was born in the dark. I guess that's why this has a moodier sound so far, a darker sound. You know, ERYS is like the darker version of SYRE, whatever that means.
Figures, it was Iris and the boys in the city doing chores, cause you know I gotta push that busy idea kinda sore. Traces on the clothes, gotta pack it naked. Assalamu alaikum, pray to God I make it. We run the city with these vision laces. Hey, flood me with that dummy shit more water than a sheep, honey. Athlete in the summer, so I know I love my sleep jeans. So I had a little.
Another young nigga gone in the sunset. We were shooting down the drones, we were upset.
And into K.
Don't talk down to me, baby, I'm drowning. I'm so glad you found me.
Okay, this is nice.
She on a different content than I got a flight again. Telling travel, get it faster like a fighter jet. Oh, miss your love, desire, so I know, but it's going down.
Oh, and there we go. Now we've got it linking back to the first track.
Time to get it. Got a vision, shoelace in the spot. Got a fist full of guap, but innovate. I gotta get that extra quinoa on my dick.
Oh, this beat sounds like I've heard something like this before.
Ball with a neck on tennis. All y'all talk too heavy. How many old boys gonna get them? Big crown, big no Benzes.
The way the kicks hit, it reminds me of, I think it's a Lil Yachty song. Oh, NBA Youngboat. The kicks on this song remind me of NBA Youngboat.
Bust down my umbrella.
Bust down an umbrella. Alright, and that's the end of Pink. Based off my first listen, that is nowhere close to Blue. You know, and I guess that's just down to personal preference, but the auto-tune just isn't a really good sound for him, honestly. I also felt like the production didn't flow together as well. It wasn't as incorporated as well as it was on Blue. I think almost every track on Blue had elements of the previous track in it, or like, you know, the tracks that came before. Whereas this, it felt like they were just 4 separate tracks until like the last bit of K. Sure, thematically they were linked, but they just didn't go together as well as I thought they might. From what I can remember, I think N was my favorite part of the sequence. The mixing and mastering on everything was phenomenal. The quality of all the sounds and everything, the quality of the beats is really good. So Pink, I think it was okay, but I really hope it's not indicative of the direction this album is going to take, but it probably is. Maybe they'll grow on me more the more I listen to them, and I'll start kind of seeing them linking together a bit more. I'll need to give that more listens, but it was just alright. Let's move on to the next track. I'm really excited to hear this one. Track number 5, NOIZE, featuring Tyler, the Creator.
I'ma need that gold metal matte black shit on the whip. Tell me you're sorry. I feel the same.
I hope Tyler's feature on this isn't like the ASAP Rocky feature on Breakfast, which just wasn't a feature. Okay. Putting some force in his delivery here, I like that. He's got a lot, he genuinely has potential, man. He has the potential to make some phenomenal music.
Kissing, licking, and sucking. Well, they don't get sarcasm. Listen to like orgasm. You think I'm digging graves away? I'm putting rocks on my wrist. Young T-Man
fits right in on this beat, man.
Just like Nicky Buns. Bitch, I make it hard to breathe. Like bitch, I kick the law.
That just came out of nowhere. Tyler's verse on that one was incredibly solid. I liked what he did on here. Nice verse with some interesting imagery, a lot of like colors mentioned throughout his verse. He does a lot of imagery with colors. And I like the chorus on it. I like the Jaden's last verse where he got really kind of energetic and hyped up, and he delivered those aggressive vocals pretty well, honestly. Just the first 2 verses I really wasn't hot on. So it's a track that definitely got better towards the end. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent one. It's a good one to listen to if you just want to get like hyped up and energized. It's that type of track. Just a song about Jaden and the boys making noise. Track number 6, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce this. ERYS. ERYS? ERYS. What does that mean? What is ERYS?
You know I live in the stars. Shit isn't really this gorgeous. I got my baby in Florence.
We have reached the closing segment of the track, and I still have no clue what ERYS means. Is it immature of me to say that ERYS sounds like an STD? Probably. It's weird because I don't feel like any of these are necessarily going to be bad tracks. They're so well produced. They sound super high quality. But I don't know, all his verses so far have not been that engaging. It's not really that distinguishable apart from the extra like layer or two that Jaden throws onto the track. Like that switch at the end and the way the vocals were mixed differently at the end. But yeah, it's like, it's not really anything that I'm going to come back to. It's sort of forgettable, I feel like. So track number 7, again, featuring SYRE. I guess ERYS. I think ERYS is, you know, more like the kind of dark trap counterpart to SYRE. SYRE makes more of the beautiful, like blissful music. I guess on this track we'll hear a good contrast between ERYS and SYRE. Oh, I just realized something. It just clicked for me, the reason why Jaden like dyed his hair pink and like pretty much got rid of his eyebrows. It's to represent this ERYS character, so at least he's... As I was saying, at least he's committed to like the storytelling and his alter ego here. He's committed to the image and the visuals. Production knocks again. Jaden not so much. Drums are nice here. We're gonna transition into a SYRE sequence.
Girl, we could paint such a pretty life.
You know, his singing voice is actually, it's kind of soothing. You know, he's not an awful singer by any means. Oh, SYRE's a little cute alter ego. He's the lovebird of the two.
So girl, just hop up.
Turn this shit on, nigga. I told you I don't play no motherfucking rock shit. Big drip only.
Okay. I will say, I'm buying more into the kind of character thing Jaden's doing here, the alter ego thing. SYRE's like the angel and ERYS is like the devil in a sense. At the end there you could see ERYS was like, turn this track off. We don't play with that lovey-dovey stuff. So ERYS is clearly the more flexy alter ego. He's the trap turned up version, which makes sense because that's what this album sounds like. It just results in a less interesting album. Where it's failing so far is just the execution of that concept. I'm actually buying into the concept of this. I like it. It shows that he wanted to do something. He has some creativity behind this. I just don't think he's executed it in an amazing way so far. I respect the thought process behind it, but again, it was just kind of another average track. Track number 8, Got It. Just over a minute long, this one. Oh, a Take Heath beat, okay.
She want that brand new design and that Louis bandana, I told her I got it. She want the wrist with the water and virtual the wallet, I told her I got it.
Me vibing out to this just goes against like everything I've said so far because this couldn't be more typical. It's got the triplet flow. It's got a Take Heath beat. This couldn't be more like generic mainstream hip hop, but it just, I don't know, this one sounds good. It has a good like up tempo but still dark sound to it.
With a platform case when you're not doing this, 6 shots don't miss. They don't flex, they don't know what that is. When take one guess when it looks like this.
Playing around with this vocal inflection, that's pretty cool.
Louis bandana, I told her I got it. She want the wrist with the water and virtual the wallet, I told her I got it.
Just over a minute, so that's a super replayable one. I like that. Yeah, it was super typical. Take Heath beat, triplet flows. He did play around with this vocal inflection on the last part of the verse, which was pretty cool. But I just had an upbeat tempo to it, an energy that kind of lifted the album up a little bit. It's like the least like creative, layered track on here, but it was just an enjoyable one. Track number 9. We got another super short one. This is under 2 minutes again, Fire Department. That was so out of left field for this album. Alright, things I liked about that track. Jaden's vocals were nice and intense. He kept the intensity up, the energy up. His vocal delivery is actually pretty solid. It's a different sound from the rest of the album, adds more variety to it. I just didn't like the sound of it. And this is where you go to the comments and you say,
oh, you're not liking the standard trap songs, but then when he switches it up to do a punk rock rap fusion...
Even though you don't like punk rock, and that's probably why you don't like it.
Are you ever pleased? Do you like anything? Why do you hate everything?
Track number 10, Mission, by Jaden and Trinidad James? Trinidad James on an album in 2019. That's an interesting move. Let's see what happens here. it's double XL, Jaden. Oh, we had the aggressive vocals for a second there and it just stopped. This track is so slow so far, so slow. Did I speak too soon? Is this beat switch gonna be nice?
I'm on the mission. I'm on the mission. I'm on the mission. And when I talk, they listen. I got that vision. I got that mission. I'm just a water sipper. I'm on the mission.
I'm just a water sipper? Most people are. I don't even know what to think of this album at this point. It's a weird one. So nothing really happened on the first beat of this song. Everything just moved so slowly. His flow was pretty slow. The beat didn't have anything exciting to it. Trinidad just kind of repeated the same lines over and over. But I wouldn't expect much more from the man that spelt his own name wrong at the beginning of a song. And I guess Jaden was a bit better over the second beat, but again, not much here. It was a pretty dull track, mostly picked up slightly towards the end, but nothing that's going to make me want to listen to it over and over. Man, I'm losing my sanity. We got 7 tracks left. Track number 11, Summertime in Paris, featuring Willow.
Summertime is meant to fall in love. I could fall asleep, stay alive.
Definitely a lot more mellow. Try to figure out how I feel about it though. We'll see as it goes on.
It's because of you I can exist, I swear. I just don't wanna give up. Summertime is meant to fall in love. Why won't you confess to all of it? Only you, only you, only you. I am in my heart right.
It's a song that makes me feel happy. It's probably one of my favorite tracks on the album so far. I will say I appreciate the kind of variety that he's starting to throw in now. You know, Fire Department, while I didn't like it, was something different. This track is something different to what most of this album has been so far. I did like this song. I felt like it was just that. It's kind of like that driving around during summer in the sunset music. That's the vibe this one gave to me, and I really like that. Just makes me feel really chilled out, puts a smile on my face. That's what a good song does. The only kind of weak part of the song, I think, was the hook. I don't know, something about Jaden's vocals just sounded a little off there, like they didn't hit that much. Other than that, you know, Jaden's vocals were nice on here. Alright, track number 12, Blackout. This is 6 minutes and 41 seconds. It better warrant that runtime.
Don't even talk. No, leaving the house, I keep up my guard.
That was a nice build up to that. Just a slow burn up to that more, you know, intense chorus.
Lost boys never find home. Couldn't tell you places I've gone. I need to get back to the flex and collecting the checks, get them out of this section. Man, I see my whole ego.
He does this monotone rapping quite well as well. Okay, that got carried way more than I thought it would for a track that was nearly 7 minutes, and most of that was just one song. Like, there wasn't a bunch of beat switches or anything. It was just pretty much one song up until the last 2 minutes where it changed to this little outro segment. I think this was another fairly good song. I'd need to be in the mood for it to listen to this particular one, but it's another one that's just really chilled out and relaxed. I even got one of those monotone voice verses from Jaden, which I think he actually does pretty nicely. He always seems to go with a more kind of like run-on sentence flow when he does that, and I think that sounds pretty good. I think he does that sound nicely. Another track that's actually up there with, you know, the better ones on the album, which is impressive for a track that's so long. But let's see if he can continue that, because track number 13 is another 6-minute song, and it's called Pain.
I'm tired of the skies on the 12-hour flights for the trips to Dubai when we're supposed to hit Hawaii. Crying in the sunset, that's a different guy.
Okay. Made it clear that it's a switch back to ERYS with this one. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this one. Just very like nondescript. This part's okay. It's okay. This is kind of where those pacing issues are starting to come through. Like slapping 2 6-minute tracks back to back. It's a bit of a risky move, I'll say. And it hasn't necessarily paid off. See, this would be a lot more listenable if it wasn't within such a long track. You know, move back to the trap with the first half of it, then we got the beat switch and it was a lot smoother. In the second half, it would have been nice if it was its own song. But on this, I just don't know. You know, we had 2 good tracks on the last 2, but it's kind of, the album's starting to just dip at this point. Yeah, I don't really think I'm going to come back to that song. So track number 14, Chateau featuring ASAP Rocky.
Let them believe, we will be leaving from the contracts. Got more money than me, we taking your vehicle, call it a carjack.
Just a gossip, then I go. When I pull up and it's all of the homies, don't act like you know me, you playing it close. They claiming it's raining, well that's what they told me. I told them to show me, I'm ready to go.
You borrowed the flow for this one.
I'm ready to go, I put in my vote, let my senators know. Keep the 10 on my toes and my head on the road.
Alright, that one was a little bit of a jam, a little bit of a bopperino. ASAP Rocky contributed nicely to it. Really like what Jaden did with this verse, coming through with a pretty non-stop flow. He was definitely energetic on this one, and I feel like that was needed after the last song. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It was an enjoyable song. Let's go on to the next one. Track number 15, On My Own, featuring Kid Cudi.
The city late at night hit a pinnacle. Shining on them, I'd rather trip alone.
Just don't stop it. Niggas tryna hate on us, so strong enough.
Okay.
Just don't stop it.
A little bit of a motivational vibe to it.
I'm like it is speaking. They talking about
Them kids go hard. Chain disco ball. I don't listen when they talk, cause I heard enough.
That was quite a nice one. That actually would have been a nice note to end the album on, because, you know, it was more of a upbeat, like, inspirational type track. Cudi came through with a really nice hook on this one. The atmosphere was just perfect for his voice. Smooth on this one, and we are getting a little bit more of that variation again. So, pretty good song. I'm running out of things to say because the album has tired me out a little bit by this point. That's probably one that I'm going to enjoy a lot more listening to it outside of the album, just by itself, you know, without having to listen to the whole album first. Just listening to that song, I think I'd like it a lot more. So, second last track on the album, track number 16, Riot. Yeah, it's another one of those, like, slower moving ones. Not really in a good way, there's just not much to it. Yeah, like I said throughout it, it was a pretty slow moving track. I think the last verse was cool on it. There was a nice energy to that, you know, after the shouting segment. I think it was quite cool there. But everything before that was so slow. My God. Yeah, I could definitely have done without this one, you know. Coming up to the end, and I just, I don't know, I'm confused about this album. I just think it's okay. It's a shame because the production is so fantastic throughout most of it, and really well put together and mixed and all that. But the actual songs themselves, I just feel like aren't all that stand out. Let's go on to the last one. Track number 17. It's just under 8 minutes long. You're not letting me end this one on an easy note, are you, Jaden? Track number 17. ERYS.
Man, when they see Luke Skywalker, Chuck had to turn to the monster.
I wanna sit here in a Teflon. Rather keep the vision in my left arm. ERYS died late last night. The street will eat you if you let your ego defeat you.
She don't need my love, she just needs someone else. Gives me every touch because
It's really beautifully done, this one, but it's just not what I need at this point in the album. He just goes a little bit too far with these long tracks and slower songs. Again, another one that I might enjoy more outside of the album. It's just within the album, I am absolutely drained at this point.
the story of a boy who moves solid to Sunday school just makes
6 pills and a pink kills from torn loose.
Where he talks so poetically, and it just makes the story so muddled.
sad story about a boy on the hill. Rumor has it that he's there still.
Alright, and that's the end of that track right there. Kind of giving more of an explanation, I guess, or context to the story. Maybe I'll listen, you know, through this and SYRE again and see if I can piece it together a bit more, see what he's going for on this one. But yeah, that definitely it started to drag when it got to the SYRE segment. At this point in the album, it's just an 8-minute track is not gonna work. Unless, I guess, if you love the sound of this album and it kept you engaged the whole way through, that's great, but didn't do that for me. So yeah, I will listen to this again, you know, for 2 reasons. Try and figure out how I feel about the sound of it a bit more, how I feel overall, and figure out more of this kind of story that Jaden's telling with this SYRE versus ERYS alter ego thing. I think it's a creative idea. He clearly wants to tell some type of story on here. Yeah, I think this suffered from having so many longer tracks on it. Longer tracks are absolutely fine. Like, an album that does this really well is Good Kid, Mad City. There's quite a few tracks that are long on there, you know. Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst is 12 minutes long, and Kendrick pretty much keeps it engaging for that entire 12 minutes. But you need to be doing something special with it. It can't pretty much just be a couple of regular songs put together and then just extended over a really long time, and I kind of feel that's what Jaden's longer songs are like. So, what did I think of ERYS overall by Jaden? Just Jaden. I was about to say Jaden Smith. Just Jaden. Yeah, it's an album that I'm confused on. Gonna need more re-listens, but I definitely think this doesn't top SYRE. I didn't love SYRE. I thought SYRE was enjoyable, not amazing, but this definitely doesn't top it. I'm sure with a couple more listens though, I'll definitely think this is better than the Sunset tapes. Real quick, my favorite tracks from what I can remember were NOIZE. There was probably 1 or 2 songs within Pink that I enjoy. I can't really remember because I just took it all as one song. Got It. I actually really like Got It. Summertime in Paris. Blackout. Chateau was pretty good, and On My Own. Not all tracks that I think are phenomenal, but I'll come back to those ones the most. Least favorites would have to be Fire Department, I'd say, Mission, and Riot, and maybe Pain, I think. So like I said earlier on in the video, I do appreciate all the effort it seems like Jaden is putting into this rapping part of his career. I do feel like he has creative concepts and a lot of creative ideas. He definitely has some, like, ambition, I would say. Like I said, it's kind of the execution where this album falls down. The whole idea of this SYRE and ERYS alter ego, where SYRE is like the good and the lighter side and the softer side, and ERYS is this dark, more evil side, where, you know, the tracks sound different when it's him rapping because it's got this darker, more trap style sound. I think it's a cool idea, and I like how he's using that to tell a story. He could easily just, you know, half-ass an album and just put out some tracks that aren't even connected in any way, shape, or form. So I appreciate the effort and the time he took to at least attempt to craft something really meaningful and craft something deep. But like I said earlier, a lot of it just comes off as very high budget trap style music that has just a couple more layers to it. The whole concept of this ERYS character is cool, but I feel like that's what kind of drags down the album. The way he pulled it off and the way he put that ERYS character into the songs, he didn't really do it in a way that produced music that was all that sonically interesting. There's a few different sounds on here, mostly towards the second half is when it kind of starts to switch up a bit more. But I don't know, I just feel like Jaden hasn't really fleshed out his sound enough yet to kind of tackle something that is as interesting as he wants it to be, I guess. I'm not saying this was by any means a bad album. I just think at its very best, it was decent. Hopefully Pink grows on me because I really want to like that as much as Blue. So that is what I think of ERYS by Jaden. What did you guys think of this project? If you checked it out, let me know down in the comments below. Did you like it a lot more than me? Did you like it less than me? Or did you feel roughly the same? Let me know. I'll be interested to see what you have to say. So thank you so much for watching this one, guys. I will hopefully see you all in the next one. And this is CDTVThaG signing out.